Welcome back to Care with Candace. Today's topic is going to be pretty serious, and I don't think it really gets talked about much in nursing school. But we have to talk about the conflict that is going on while being a nurse. It's patient conflict, it's a family conflict, and you have to know what to do or what not to do. Okay? So, advice number 1. Don't argue. Please. Please do not argue with the patient. Do not argue with their family member. You have to know how to rectify the situation without worsening it. Imagine if you're arguing with someone who's not getting what they need. You can only imagine how it's being escalated because their emotions are not being well managed and what they are asking for is not being given to them. So you can only imagine how that patient feels, and they're just basically acting on emotion at that time, which is anger. All right, so you as the nurse, you have to always respond in a professional manner. Okay, for example, I had a patient one time who pain medications, it's technically due, but it's a PRA medication. It's technically due within the next 4 hours. 4 hours comes up because all they have time to do is watch TV and watch the clock. 4 hours has come up, you're not there. They hit the call like, hey, I'm reminding my nurse that, it's time for my pain medication, all right? You as the nurse, you're in another patient's room at the time, giving patient care. So you can't get to them at that current moment, all right? You have to let the patient know like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm in the patient's room right now. Give me about 3 minutes. I'm almost done. I'll be right there, okay? Give them a time frame of when you are expected to be back in there. Let them know, hey, I'm sorry that I'm late. To them, you're late. Even if it is a PRN as needed medication, to them, you are still late, okay? Yes, the patient has to ask for that PRN medication, but if you have a patient and you know that they're getting it around the clock anyway because they just had surgery and they're in actual pain, you have to apologize to them just because you're acknowledging that, their expectations were not met from you, okay? It's not stooping down or anything like that. Don't come in the room with an attitude, hey, I was busy working with another patient, like you gotta wait. No. Do not argue with them. Do not give them attitude about it. Just explain to them, hey, I'm finishing up. I'll be there in about 3 minutes. I'm going to go to the med room, pull the medication, and I'm going to be right there in the room. Okay? That goes a long way rather than telling them, hey, this is not a due scheduled right now medication. I don't technically have to be in the room with you at this specific time. All that's gonna do is stir up more anger in the patient, and they're gonna feel like they're not as important or their pain does not matter. And what you're doing is more important than treating their pain. You never want our patients to feel that way, okay? When it comes down to family conflicts, say you're at the nurse's station, you're documenting, they look at you and they feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You just left out of that patient's room, but the family members weren't there at the time. So they're coming up to the nurse's station like, hey, we've been waiting for the nurse to come in because we have questions. You acknowledge the family, hey, yeah, I was just in the room. If you have some questions, let me finish up what I'm doing here and I will be there in the next 5 minutes. Okay? Let me finish what I'm doing and I will be there in the next 5 minutes. Let them know that, yes, they are a priority, but what you're doing in that moment is also very important. You do not have to drop everything that you're doing to acknowledge or to address whatever issues that someone else is having. But you let them know that, hey, I hear you, I see that you have some concerns, so let's talk about it privately in your family member's room. Okay, so definitely when you do go in the room, obviously give them your full undivided attention. Offer them to ask any questions that they have, okay? There's been times before where the family members will be like, hey, my dad had this procedure done today, or they've had this diagnostic test today, did the results come back, all right? You respond and you say, I see the report is in here. but I'm not 100% sure what exactly it's saying or what it means. I can't interpret it. So the doctor is going to be the one who's going to come in and give you guys this information. Oh, what time is the doctor going to come? In reality, we don't know what time the doctor's going to come. So do your due diligence. Reach out to the doctor and be like, hey, family member is here for room A. You know, they're asking about the results from this test. Hopefully you get a response back and you can relay that to the family. They like to know that there is a closed-ended conversation where they've given you a concern, you've acted on that concern and able to relay information back to them. That is the easiest way to alleviate any types of uncomfortable conversations or any arguing back and forth or any attitudes that need to be had as well. Okay, we want to eliminate any type of negative energy because this is a healing environment for our patients. We never want to have an argument in front of the patients either. Okay, as nurses, obviously there are tough times and nurses might not agree on anything, or doctor and nurse might not agree on anything. Never argue in front of the patients. Always show that you are a responsible and professional person and you know what you're talking about, and the next person also knows what you're talking about. But you guys are gonna have difference in opinions. Talk about that outside of the patient's room. This is their healing environment. So make it a safe and healing environment for them so that they don't increase any stress levels, they don't get worried about anything, and that they're able to have continue to have a comfortable stay. Okay, so like I said, biggest advice I can give any nurse, any new grad nurse: do not argue with the patient, do not argue with the family members. They are right in the situation and we have to acknowledge their complaints, apologize for anything, and figure out how we can alleviate from those situations to happen again. Okay, always give them a time frame of when you're going to return. And if you do forget to get something because the patient asked you and you got 10,000 other things going on at that time, you know, again, acknowledge the fact that you forgot to do something and you are gonna go handle it at that moment. Okay, when you're in the patient's room, give them your undivided attention. Do not document on the computer and have your back turned towards the patient. All right, they're gonna think that you're not listening to them. So whatever way that you can alleviate any conflict, any arguments, any disagreements, do so by continuing to stay professional at all times. And just if you cannot rectify the situation, always escalate it to your manager, escalate it to your charge nurse. If they can't rectify the situation, call your house supervisor, call security if it gets too bad. You are never alone in a situation when you're conversing with a patient or their family members. Know that you have a team of individuals who are there to support you, and whatever backup that you need, you're able to do so. Okay? So listen out for more information that's on the way. We're gonna have more content, of course, for new grads, current nurses, those interested in going and moving on in different careers. So like, subscribe, leave a comment, send me a message on Instagram, carewithcandace, and also share this video again with whoever it is that you know who's interested in the nursing field. Okay, see you later.